You know, now that I'm back at home and I've washed the Vegas off of me and out of my clothes, I'm looking back on the absolute zoo that was CES, and I'm realizing that CES is a little bit like a big family reunion, right? I mean, you've got the family of journalists running around trying to scoop each other and skipping dinner and fun parties to type frantically late into the night. You've got the family of YouTubers armed with cameras and caffeine and ultimately cocktails. And then you've got the family of brand reps that we've come to know over the years, whose feet definitely hurt as much as yours, but you won't hear them complaining about it. And in this family, like, some of them are like long lost cousins. Others are more like that one uncle who's always trying to sell you something. But beyond all that, the TVs themselves feel like their own quirky, maybe even dysfunctional family. Each one has a personality, a role, and a story to tell. And this year's lineup? Oh, it's a reunion for the ages, y'all. Let me introduce you to the most exciting TVs of 2025. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Caleb Dennison, and welcome to the family reunion that is my gathering of the most exciting TVs of 2025. This year's lineup is packed with big personalities, bold innovations, and as always, a little bit of drama. Some of these TVs were the stars of CES, others are just starting to make their presence known, and a few are keeping us guessing. Each one has its own story, its own quirks, and its own place in the family. So let's dive in and meet the cast of characters that will be lighting up your living room this year. First up at our little reunion, we've got the reliable crowd pleaser. You know, the family member who gets along with everyone, shows up at every event, and somehow manages to bring a casserole that everyone actually loves. And that is the TCL QM6K. Now, TCL has been telling me that the QM6K uses their new QD Mini LED tech, which now involves, according to them, a super high energy LED chip to deliver 53% more brightness. 53% more than what? Well, we're gonna find out. Also, they've got a new condensed micro lens design that's meant to keep blooming under control even better than before. You add in up to 500 local dimming zones and a 23-bit backlight controller, which is supposed to deliver up to 65,000 different levels of brightness gradation. And you've got a TV that at least reads like the most overachieving budget pleaser that we've seen to date. TCL also claims that the QM6 is going to cover 98% of the DCI-P3 color gamut, and gamers get a 144 Hz native refresh rate with AMD FreeSync Premium Pro. Oh, and let's not forget that TCL is now partnered with Onkyo for audio. So it's got an Onkyo branded 2.1 channel speaker system with Dolby Atmos, because no good family casserole is complete without the right seasoning. Sizes are gonna range from 50 to 98 inches, and pricing starts at $750. So I think it's pretty clear that this TV maxes out TCL's efforts to reliably deliver more for less. Next up, we've got the Overachieving Big Brother. Now, this is the one who always has to one-up their younger sibling, but still manages to keep things grounded enough to not just annoy the entire family. And that would be the TCL QM7K. So with this TV, TCL is taking everything great about the QM6K and dialing it up a few notches. It's available in screen sizes up to a massive 115 inches. That's right, the 115 is now down in TCL's 7 series. Now, this TV is for the folks who want a home theater-like experience, but without shelling out flagship dollars. TCL says it's using the same QD Mini LED tech as the QM6K, but with even more local dimming zones for more refined backlighting and contrast. Like I said, it's everything great about the new QM6K, but bigger, bolder, and brighter, so it definitely earns the Overachieving Big Brother award. That's why I had to hand this TV an actual award at the show. I think this TV is poised to deliver enthusiasts just about everything they want, but at a price that it makes it achievable. Overachievable, even. Next up, we've got the Prodigal Comeback Kid, the family member who disappeared for years to find themselves and now just shows up at the reunion looking better than ever with stories that put everyone else to shame. That is the Panasonic Z95B. Now, I am fairly certain that this TV uses LG Display's latest gen WRGB OLED panel, the one with 4 emissive layers, which allows it to reach brightness levels that rival mini LED TVs, like up to 3700 nits peak in HDR highlights. The side-by-side demos with last year's Z95A suggested that the brightness improvements in real-world content are significant. And all this means that the Z95B is going to stand toe-to-toe with all of the other top-tier OLEDs on this list. Last year, I think the big complaint with the Z95A was that it didn't have MLA, and so it kind of couldn't kick up to the LG G4's level, but that all changes with the Z95B. Now, here's the kicker about Panasonic's announcement at CES. See, while LG was staying curiously quiet on the details about the new panel in their G5 OLED, Panasonic just came out and was like, here it is, y'all. I mean, they just spilled the tech tea all over the place, which stood in stark contrast to LG keeping everything really close to their chest. When Panasonic made the announcement and showed this slide with the 4-layer OLED panel, I literally did a Tiger Woods level fist pump. I was that stoked in that moment. So the Z95B, combining beyond MLA brightness with Panasonic's color accuracy and processing, I mean, you've got a TV that feels like it's gunning for awards, not just praise. And I gave it an award because they did what LG would not. Anyway, after years away from the US market, the Z95B is here to prove that Panasonic still has what it takes. And that's why the Z95B is the Prodigal Comeback Kid. Well, now we have to talk about the Coy Prodigy. You know exactly who I'm talking about. This is the family member who's clearly the star, but just plays it cool, leaves everyone guessing. And that would be the LG G5. Now, LG has decidedly not confirmed much in the way of details, but it's really obvious that this TV is packing the next gen OLED tech that Panasonic confirmed it was using. But LG has some processing-based brightness boosting that could mean the G5 would have an edge, if only a slight one, over the Panasonic Z95B. Also, LG's processing netted it some big awards last year. And since this TV, the G5, is using the same processor, presumably tweaked for this new panel, I think LG could be poised to have the best TV of the year again, at least according to some experts. Now, as you know about the Gallery series, it's designed to be mounted on the wall. The G5, again, includes a no-gap wall mount, but for all sizes. So LG is not including a table stand for some of the smaller models, and that's a decision that LG told me was based on pretty clear customer preferences. Now, with everything that LG is throwing into this model, I think it's pretty well positioned to dominate the competition in a lot of areas, at least. For sure, though, it effortlessly lives up to its title as the Coy Prodigy. Next up, we've got the Stubborn Trailblazer. This is the family member who's brilliant and successful, but they always insist they know best, even when everyone else is disagreeing with them. Can you guess which one I'm talking about now? It's the Samsung S95F QD OLED. Yeah, so Samsung doubled down on its anti-glare and anti-reflection tech. They've even tossed it into their flagship QLED TV lineup, even though enthusiasts have been screaming for a more traditional glossy finish on these flagship TVs. But Samsung says that their anti-glare stuff is the best choice for bright rooms and daytime viewing, and I tend to agree with them. But you know what? Let's set aside the anti-glare treatment for just a moment. I'm pretty confident that the S95F is using Samsung Display's Gen 4 QD OLED panel, which improved the blue OLED efficiency enough that the S95F could end up peaking at about 4,000 nits for HDR highlights and should do over 400 nits at full screen white, which means it would look amazing in a bright room with SDR content. Now, let me take a second to clarify my position on Samsung's anti-glare technology. Some have accused me of loving it, like to the degree of fanboy status. That is not the case. What I see is a smart business decision. I think that there's this notion that TV enthusiasts are the only ones buying a TV like the S95F, and that's just not the case. Samsung is reaching a much bigger audience with this approach and is likely to make more money from it. That is, if negative talk from enthusiasts doesn't sour the minds of non-enthusiasts who are trying to research the TV. But just because I think it may be a smart business move, that doesn't mean I'm fanboying all over it. I think it has its place. It would maybe be my top choice for a super bright room if I watched primarily during the day. Kind of a non-enthusiast use case. Otherwise, no, it wouldn't be my top choice. And I understand enthusiasts who are upset that they can't get Samsung's best QD OLED performance without having to accept the anti-glare that they don't wanna. I can also understand feeling unseen by Samsung. I mean, they have got to know this is not what a lot of enthusiasts want. So the fact that they didn't just continue the anti-glare but doubled down on it, I get if that feels downright insulting. I really do. But that's what they did. And in doing so, they have definitely earned the Stubborn Trailblazer moniker. Now we come to the Mysterious Wildcard. This is the family member who shows up looking like they've got it all figured out, but you're not entirely sure if it's genius or just bold ambition, hubris even. And that would be the Hisense 116UX. Now, the 116UX uses a new mini LED backlight technology that Hisense calls Trichroma Mini LED, which really just means 3-color. It's essentially red, green, and blue mini LEDs stacked together behind a lens so that the backlight itself can provide white light or color. What's crazy about this to me is that the backlight now has to coordinate with the color filter. And that job, like, it's hard to imagine how it's gonna work correctly. It's gonna require a ton of processing horsepower, and Hisense says they've got it, but do they? See, this is a TV where the technology is really exciting, and I have high hopes for it, but I also have a ton of questions. I can't understand how color distortion isn't gonna be a problem. And as a matter of fact, this TV's technology may make measurements basically useless because how it produces color slides from a pattern generator is going to be vastly different than how it produces color for real content. Also, this did not leap right out at me when I saw the TV in person, but looking back on our video footage, which was shot off angle, and that can tend to expose backlighting effects already, but paired with the fact that this TV is so insanely bright and was in a dark space that we had to stomp down on the camera exposure, the resulting footage shows what appears to be colored blooming or halo effect. And I have to wonder how visible that's gonna be in real content, not demo footage, with the processor having to do upscaling and image cleanup stuff and a lot more. We'll see how it performs when I get to actually review this TV. But never before have I been so simultaneously excited and skeptical. On paper, definitely exciting, but will it deliver? So for now, I've just got to call it the Mysterious Wildcard. And then, also from Hisense, we've got the no-show that steals the spotlight. This is the family member who skips the reunion, but still manages to have everyone talking about him because the rumors are just flying around. And that would be the Hisense U7. While we didn't see it at CES, we didn't see any of Hisense's standard TV lineup. The U7's legacy suggests it's gonna offer stellar performance at mid-range prices with features like intense brightness, aggressive local dimming, and probably insane refresh rates too. All at a price that's gonna be extremely difficult to beat. I think it's gonna take on the TCL QM7K very directly. And while Hisense didn't talk about it, I can use historical precedent to make a prediction. Like, I know it's gonna come, and I'm confident that it's gonna do what I think it's gonna do. So that puts it firmly into the no-show that steals the spotlight role. Next, we've got the Hustler. It's that family member who's always scheming with plans that sound way too ambitious to ever work, and yet somehow they always manage to pull it off. They're the ones maybe involved with a Ponzi scheme, but somehow they end up making money out of it. And that would be the Sansui OLED lineup. Now, Sansui blasted into the US late last year with one 55-inch OLED TV running Google TV, and it dropped as low as $600 on sale during the holidays. But now, Sansui's coming in hot in 2025 with a 65-inch and a 77-inch OLED on top of that 55-inch. And frankly, I think they're gonna be the OLED TVs for everyone. I mean, Sansui's kind of being ruthless here. They are shooting to seriously undercut the competition, and we know that that approach tends to pry open wallets here in the US. With that said, the brand is not exactly a known quantity yet, but if these TVs pick up good reviews, and I think they might because they're OLEDs, which means they kind of look awesome by default, well, Sansui might just pull off the biggest upset that we've seen in US TV history. But just the fact that they are trying to do this, that proves that they are definitely the hustler in this TV family. Finally, we come to the mysterious significant other. You know, the one everyone in the family keeps hearing about from that one other family member, but nobody has actually met. And that would be Sony this year. Sony didn't show up at CES. They didn't last year, and it was no surprise, but we know they're gonna be coming later this year with something big. Maybe it's another QD OLED, maybe it's that new from LG Display, or maybe they have somehow made their new mini LED backlighting tech even more stellar than it was last year. The details are scarce, but based on Sony's track record, there's every reason to believe that one of their TVs, at least one of their TVs, could end up being the best of the year. And I have a feeling that we'll be learning more sometime between March and May. Let's just say that for now. What I'm really curious about is how they're gonna pull off the naming convention, right? Are they gonna stick with Bravia 7 and Bravia 8 and Bravia 9, just like rely on the new model year 2025 to distinguish them? I mean, they're gonna have different like technical actual model numbers, but will the common names stay the same? I'm super curious. Anyway, I know a lot of enthusiasts have had some fun passing around a supposed leaked Chinese registration document and pointing to that to suggest that Sony is abandoning QD OLED entirely. But as a journalist, if I can't verify the provenance of something, I'm not going to take it as gospel. Plus, that document would be for China, if it's real at all, not the US market or even UK and Europe. I'm not saying it's categorically untrue. I'm just saying we don't have nearly enough now to know that it spells out Sony's strategy. Plus, Sony has a way of surprising us. They definitely did last year. Until then, we'll all just keep wondering about Sony, the mysterious significant other. Pretty sure there's something really cool coming, but we don't know any of the details, and frankly, I'll believe it when I see it. Guys, thanks so much for watching. What did you think of the little theme for this video? Let me know down in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you found this video fun and helpful and want to see more like it in the future. I'll see you on the next one, and until then, here's 2 other videos I think you might like. Yeah, that's it, man. I have given everything that I have to give.